Guys, we're here today at beautiful Lake of the Ozarks. A little history on Lake of the Ozarks. Lake of the Ozarks has more shoreline than the California coast. If you put your mind to that, that's a lot of water. We're going to cover a small section today here in the Niangua arm. We're turning out of Larry R. Gale. It's on kind of the southern end, mid-lake area. We're going to be focusing shallow. We're going to be focusing on structure and docks for the most part. But Lake of the Ozarks, it's a tourist style lake, a lot of lake homes, a lot of people, a lot of cover in this lake. But we're excited to show it to you guys. Follow us along.
What we're looking for, this is a little bit past September. The crappie are just now starting to kind of go back to the docks. They're looking for some shallow water, and so whenever we fish, the main reason we fish these docks is because the shallow, if they want to get up in a certain level of water, like 5 to 8 feet, they can get underneath there and not be bothered by the light. So this is a dock that's a single dock in this whole little pocket. And if there's crappie in here and they want to be under the dock, right there's the dock that they're most likely they're going to be some fish under. And so we're going to go scan it first, and if we see them with scanning it, then we're going to turn around and fish it. What we're watching for here is on the side scan, looking. Okay, see them shadows right there? That's good. That's real good. That's real good. So that means there's quite a bit of crappie underneath this dock, and we're going to go back here and see if we can't catch a few of them. A little bit of brush and stuff on this side too. So we're at 15 to 30 foot is how far the shallows are. So that means the fish are farther back this way. So they could be anywhere from 5 to maybe 20 foot under the dock, and that's definitely reachable. So we're gonna go back and see if we can't catch a few of those. We also take advantage of the Mega Live to kind of get a feel for depth and everything and distance. So that's in there probably 20 to 25. Missed him. But that fish was really closer to us than probably about 10 foot from the front edge. There he is. First fish of the day, second cast. I missed the first one. You can see that they're eating well, so they got a lot to eat. I'd like to give it a little pop every once in a while just to maybe try to get one to trigger on it. Pretty light bite, but one hit it right there. Drop your piled in there. There it is. That's a fish right there, boys. We've probably already had about 4 or 5 bites and only caught one fish, so that means they're not real aggressive just yet. There it is. Now that one hit pretty shallow, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Other black crappie. Thick, starting to feed up.
Just catching up. I'm sure there's a big one underneath there somewhere too. That's back there about the table. There he is. Scrapper.
That's fine.
Nah, not much difference. This feels like a better fish. About the same. They're just healthy. They're strong. Well, what we got is Bobby Garland has got probably more colors of different styles of bait than anybody in the industry. And so what I did is I've packed 2 or 3 different kinds of baits. This is they call it the Itty bit. It's 1 inch and 1/4 long. That's what I've really been catching a lot of fish on. It's really hard to shoot, so it's so small. And this is the bait that Rick and I have so far has had our best luck on. This is called a Minna minder. It's a little bit fatter profile. And actually, that tail on that has quite a bit of action, actually. It's designed to put a minnow in between it, but I never used minnows, so, and I've had really great luck with this particular bait for years. And this is a new color that came out. We just introduced this last year. It's called a Live Romar. And we were down on Grand Lake, and that particular color right there was absolutely, I think because of the name, it's called pecan cream. I think those fish just can't resist it because of that name. But that bait right there has been really strong all last fall, and I haven't even thrown it much here lately, so I may tie it on and give it a try and just see if that's going to be the combination that they like today. The curly tail's never been a bait of mine that I've preferred that much, and I know a lot of people like it, you know, and I don't knock anybody that throws any kind of color or any kind of bait style if they have good luck and have, you know, as they got confidence in it. Confidence is a major deal. Okay, and this is the Blankenship jig head, which it's got this little spring on it. And what you do is you push your bait right up to it. And this bait won't come off. I mean, once you get it on there, they have to tear the tail up to get it off. And basically, once they run the bait by pulling the tail off, is the only time I ever had to really replace it. So once you get it up to that coil there, you just push it just a little bit and then it just takes over on its own. And you get it to where it looks like it's right. And now we're dock shooting, so I don't worry about it as much, but a lot of times whenever I'm fishing vertical, I will pull that line to the back of that eye so that that bait will lay horizontal in the water. It makes it look more natural. You know, if I pull it, you know, like that way, look how that bait lays. You know, that's no good if you're trying to fish vertical, but it will work whenever you're casting and retrieving because it just pulls it flat. But as of right now, you know, I naturally do that no matter whether I'm vertical fishing or dock shooting or whatever. So let's see if they'll like that one today. Go back, crappie. That's quite a that, right?
It is. There's a good one.
A little bigger. They're in there. I mean, I know there's some good fish under there. There's always some that runs together with them. That's a little guy. They gotta be little before they can get big. One of the key things for me whenever I'm dock shooting is I always try to get that jig. First thing you do is try to get that jig somewhere at the bottom eye, maybe a little below. Some people's got a little different reach, but I always say just slightly below that bottom eye. And then open the bail, and then I'm just holding it just like I'm gonna cast. So the next trick here is just grab this jig and always grab it by the finger with the finger and the thumb and turn that hook up. If you don't do that, you're probably gonna get a hook in your finger. But from that point, then you just load that rod up like that. And so the key right here is trying to get that load and shoot the dock. A lot of times whenever I am shooting docks, I try to take it in as high as I can. You know, that way less water, less friction, so to go farther. So when I am shooting, I really sometimes don't even know it, but I always try to get to a point where I can get as close to the dock as I can. Well, typically 10 to 15 foot from dock is a good angle. And that way, whenever I shoot, you know, I've got a little room to play with. But I try to take it in as high as I can when it first starts out. That one probably went back there 30 feet. And so now it's all about trying to get the bite, get the strike, you know, right now they're really finicky. So we're trying different methods to try to get them to bite. You know, I don't ever aim. I just look at where I'm trying to shoot. And when you get to the point where you're able to hit where you're looking at, you know, that's when you got it. Just like right now, I'm just basically focused on the center of that hole. Whenever you're dock shooting and you got somebody that's new that is wanting to learn how to dock shoot, now if they want to just learn how to dock shoot, you know, the first thing I'll tell them is to go to the garage or somewhere where they're out in the open, set you up some boxes or cans or whatever, and you know, I show them the basic technique of how this starts. And after that, then you practice on being able to get your release time down, you know, because it's a split second decision whenever you're releasing and trying to get that shot to go. And then after the release, you know, you see how far you're shooting and see how accurate you are. Once you get to where you're feeling like you're really accurate, and then you start working on your power. You raise that power level up. And once you get that power level up a little bit more, then you guys work again on a little bit on accuracy, because the harder you pull, the harder it is to be accurate. But once you get the accuracy down and your power both down, you've got it. And it takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. I've had a few people that picked it up really quickly, but in general, You know, this is something I've done for 20 years, you know, and I can still mess up. But consistency is the name of the game when you're dock shooting. If you're consistent, you know, you're gonna catch a lot more fish. But if you're bouncing off the dock and you're on top of the dock and you're all over the place, you know, you spend too much time just trying to get your jig back, or maybe making a dock owner mad, because if they hear that jig bouncing off their dock 2 or 3 times, you know, these are private property, the docks are. They don't own the water, but they own the dock. And so, you know, I totally understand whenever they come down and they say, hey man, I said, we'd like you to leave us a few fish. I'm good with it. That's kind of the part that goes with the dock shooting, because you're typically shooting private property stuff. Just be courteous.